All right, so we're taking a step back in time. I'm out here at Riley's Farm in Oak Glen, and I'm joined by John. John, tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, Riley's Farm is an educational field trip destination. We have several different tours, the most popular of which is our Revolutionary War Tour. It's typically geared toward 5th grade, and today, as you can see, we had a whole school here for a colonial farm life.
Okay.
And we actually are quite fortunate enough to have between 70 and 80,000 youngsters from the Southland every year.
Wow.
It's quite a bit.
Well, this is year-round then,
Oh yes, oh yes. Our busy times are spring and fall for certain.
Sure, sure. Now, you're dressed a little bit different from me.
Of course.
Of course.
Indeed.
Now, what age, or not age, but what time period are we going for?
1775
Okay.
in the New England colonies.
Okay.
And my get-up here would be a pair of breeches. Hello, Coco. We have several farm dogs as well.
I can see that.
And then I would have a waistcoat or a waistcoat, and then of course a shirt, and my various other accoutrements. I would have a possibles bag. I'm a farmer / hunter, so.
Okay. Take us around the place here, because this is beautiful. When you drive up to it, I mean, it looks like a plantation. It looks like you literally step back in time.
Well, we're actually a food-producing farm. We have a huge apple crop. We just got done with a very successful apple season, too. So it was a boon to us. There's a bumper crop. It was a wonderful season. Up here, we have our country store. We have all kinds of gifts and things that our visitors can shop for.
Sure.
We have a fully functioning restaurant behind us, the Hawk's Head Tavern, and we're very proud to have it a growing part of the farm. And then actually the house behind me is built in the 18th century pillbox style. And it's all built with without a single nail that's in the lower end of it. It's all mortise and tenon, they call it.
Really?
In the actual style.
Wow. Now, how long ago was it built?
This house was actually built in the 1990s, so it's not an actual house taken from the eastern seaboard, but it's built in the same style.
Same style. Wow. Now, when the students come out here, what type of activities do they actually get to take part in?
Well, depending on the tour, we do, as I've mentioned, the Revolutionary War Tour and then the Colonial Farm Life. They go from what we call village post to village post. They go from station to station, and they could learn anything from the drilling, the day of the militias. They could learn blacksmithing, weaving, colonial etiquette. They could learn about the injustice of the Admiralty Court, which is a maritime judicial system, which was not very just. All sorts of things. And then we also have on our other tours, we have our California Gold Rush, and then we have our Civil War, and an Old Joe tour, which is local heritage.
Throwing tomahawks here in the IE. Did you know you could do that?
He's down focusing in on the soldiers and the musket balls that we make here on the farm. And that would have been from pewter or a white metal, a soft metal.
Very dense.
Yeah, it is. It melts at about 600 degrees, so it's easy for me to work with. Not unlike iron or cast iron, it melts at like over 5,000 degrees. And the soldiers would have carried this about. When you melt it, it's called a crucible, what you melt in. The soldier or anybody would have had this on their own because they would be responsible for making their own musket balls. You can melt a small one like this over a campfire and then make your own musket balls or rifle balls by yourself, because there is no real way of keeping it supplied. The only thing we could truly supply was gunpowder. That was the only, because it has to be milled. So everything else, that's why there's not a lot of silverware, tea sets and things. They were taken by both sides and melted down for their balls and everything.
So that's their supply. So.
Right, exactly. Anything tin, anything that they can melt down by hand, they would have used, to make the musket balls or rifle balls that they had.
What is this big pump right back
That would
here?
be known as a bellows. That would be hooked, that's an air pump.
Oh.
And that would be hooked up to a charcoal forge, like a coal forge, using regular coal. It would blow air from the bottom up to the fire, and this is how you get hot enough to make swords and like that. This would get over 4,000 degrees, hot enough to weld the metal, where you fold the sword, pound them together into one. That's called welding the metal.
He'll pour it into the mold, and you can actually see the liquid metal pour there.
It looks like
he's gotta
mercury.
It very much does, and he has to work very quickly here because it'll cool enough that it'll solidify, and there you go.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, very fast, and that'll produce a horrible burn if it were to contact human skin.
Okay.
So we let it cool for quite a bit, and he'll go ahead and make another one.
Now is it? Oh, I guess it is not too cold at this point.
It's getting there. You can see the top layer there is starting to solidify.
Sure. I can't believe how fast that is.
Oh yeah.
That was really, now,
There it is.
you know, people here in the Inland Empire, if they want to come out here in a weekend or during the week, what can they do?
Depending on the time of year, most Saturdays, more so in the fall, we have all sorts of things going on. As I said, our apple picking. We also do have a program called Adventures in the Old World, and that is you can, for $3, you can get a ticket and throw some tomahawks, you can shoot some arrows, you can dip your own candles, you can bake your own apple pie, and then on our various banquet events, we have hay rides available.
All right, so Glenn, tell us, what are the kids doing right now?
Okay, well, the kids would be doing what would have been their chores at that time. They would have gotten home from school every day. And the windfall, the apples that come onto the ground, that is something given to us for free. We only eat the apples off the tree, raw or cook with, but the ones on the ground we would make cider from. It doesn't matter if it's rotten or anything in it, or if you got a bug in it. Just give you some extra protein, because we would cook it and ferment it and add it. And the New Englands would add brown sugar and cinnamon, and that would escalate it to about a 12% alcohol content.
Oh, wow.
So it made it a very widely wanted substance, you know, and it's something, you know, like drinking the water out of the stream, you don't have to boil it and everything. So the cider was something I could just go to and drink, but it was also a great barter, because if we bartered at this time, I didn't have to pay a tax to King George. So no monies were exchanged. So it was one of the most sought after bartering tools, even around the world, in England and everything.
So there's an alcohol based in here?
Yeah, they would take the apples, and then with them being on the ground, it didn't matter if they were rotten, because I was cooking it, fermenting it with the sugar, and that kills all the germs in it.
Well, there's a
Well,
bee.
the bee, well, that's where we get our vitamin B from, is from the bees in there. So it is not of any consequence on that. We would strain that through some cheesecloth or something like that, and then that's what we would add our sugar to, and then we would cook that. And then that would be our apple cider base. Now, you could make it raw if you used apples off the tree.
Okay.
And then you could go ahead and drink it raw. You'd have to drink it in about 5 days. It would start fermenting on its own.
Oh, gotcha.
But the ones that were off the ground, the windfalls, we would have to ferment, or else it would make you deathly ill.
Hey, John. We're over at the bakery now, and I just found something that I don't think I've ever seen in my life. A cookie that's as big as my head.
That's right. We're very well known for our bakery items here. Preeminently our 5-pound apple pie, very popular. A lot of folks come up for the tours and stay for the food. We have our Granny Smith caramel coated apples over here. Very, very popular treat. We have our apple turnovers in the front here, and we also have our apple dumplings. That's a whole apple that's cored, peeled, and cut into a spiral. We drizzle cinnamon and sugar down the middle, and we glaze it into a crust. And very popular, very good.
Farming life's a tough gig, huh?
Well, it can be, but we have it pretty lucky up here.
All right, so John, if people want to find out more about you guys, where would they go online?
It's rileysfarm.com.
Okay.
And you can get all the information. We have everything available on the internet. All of our tours, all of our dinners, we have everything. So.
Okay. And is there a telephone number if they can't get online?
Absolutely. It's 909-797-7534.
Well, that is 5 pounds.
It is. We measure every single pie.
Wow.
It is 5 pounds.
Well, again, a jewel right here in the Inland Empire in Oak Glen. And I've got my work cut out for me. Thank you very much, John.
Very welcome.